Okay, in today's training, I want to talk about obviously social selling and in the federal marketplace. But I get asked all the time by government contractors, how can I meet federal buyers? How can I meet teammates within the federal market? And one of those ways is to be engaged online, what I call and what a lot of us call social selling, right? This ability to be out there. And it's the difference between the old way of selling to a customer and the new way. In the old way, especially if you go back even before the internet, right? The only way customers could get information was from us salespeople. And whatever our title is, we're all salespeople if we're trying to get the customer to buy. And so the only way that they could get that information was through conversations. As the internet came along and websites were created, right? Well, the customer could start doing a little bit more research out there, right? But websites didn't give them a ton. It only gave them access to whatever you put out there for on your website that you wanted to share. And then as social selling came along or social media came along, not only could they get information, but they could follow you and learn more about your organization, your culture, the way you do things, maybe some of your successes, etc. All of that stuff was really being shared out on social media. And a big part of this is it's a networking environment where all of us are starting to come together, right? And I'm talking to those of us who are actually using social media. We're able to do social selling, and your customers are coming out there doing that as well. You may have heard people use this phrase that people buy from those they know, like, and trust, right? And in this particular case, social selling, what I want to talk to you about today is about helping your customer know, like, and trust you, right? To get them started down that path. I'm going to, let me share my slides here really quick. So we're going to be talking about social selling for government contractors in 2024. In particular, I talk to small businesses. I'm here to help small businesses succeed, right? And I'm going to cover down on three main areas in today's session. The first one is, what is social selling? Let's just understand and kind of baseline what it means when I say, what I mean when I say social selling, right? The second thing is I want to talk about two different hows of doing social selling. And the first how is to think about who should I be social selling to? Right? How do I reach out to those people? How do I find them, et cetera? And then the second one or the third bullet that I'll wrap up with in this area, I want to talk about how you can actually social sell out there, what you should be doing, et cetera. And I'm going to show you. I don't want to just talk to you in slides. I've got very few slides, few bullets, but I'm going to dive into LinkedIn in particular and just walk us through. So if that's what you're here to learn and you're ready to get rock and roll with me, put GovCon Rocks into the chat. Show me a little bit that you're tracking on this and you're excited about the topic. If you don't know who I am, my name is 𝗕𝗙𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏. I'm the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce, and I want to welcome you to my federal sales training where I provide tips for success in the federal market. I have spent 20 years as a small business owner in the federal market after I got out of the Army. And for the past 6 years now, since 2018, I don't know if the math quite adds up there, right? But for the last 6 years, I've been helping people and teaching people that government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process. When we follow a process A to Z, we're going to have repeatable, predictable results. When we talk about social selling for government contractors, you absolutely can have repeatable, predictable, relationship building results, right? That's kind of my goal for today's training. If you haven't done so already, please connect with me on LinkedIn. If you're on YouTube, come on over on YouTube. And make sure you subscribe to my newsletter, Government Contracting Success. This newsletter is the largest one out there on LinkedIn on government contracting. And we constantly provide information that is designed specifically to help you with your selling to federal agencies, whether it's sales tips, whether it's agency insights, sharing information that I have about agencies. For example, I was mentioning if you're in the IT services or even help in the IT services, today I just put out something related to the ITES 4.S or 4S contract vehicle. And you can go take a look at that. Anyway, so subscribe to the newsletter and then register for training if you haven't done so already. If you did register for training, I really appreciate it. It's an easy thank you. We have over 100 people register for training today. And when you do, first, it's a thank you to us, and we really appreciate that. Second, LinkedIn pushes it out. This is social selling, right? Let's make this your very first lesson. When you register for anybody's training, you're engaging. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that fact that you're telling me you're showing up. But also when you register, LinkedIn tells your network, your broader network, hey, Jane's coming to the training. You might also be interested in this, right? So you have the ability to push it out further, but LinkedIn does that. If you haven't registered for training for the next 3 days, we're ending up February doing March 1st training. So I've got training every single day. I'd love to have you in there, and I'd appreciate it if you'd register. Okay, so let's talk about what is social selling. And if this is your first time here, by the way, I move at a fire hose pace. You can definitely watch the replay at half speed, but I really try to drive forward in a lot of information and a lot of tactical information. But I do move pretty fast on the talking side. So when you think about what is social selling, first off, it really is just on social media platforms. You can expand it to say it's anywhere on the internet and your website and things like that. But primarily, we're talking about platforms that allow you to socially engage with other people. And so for me, that's LinkedIn. I don't believe any other social platform is worth it for networking, for social selling. Other platforms are good for pushing information out, brand awareness, if you will. But social selling happens on the only social platform that allows really good engagement, and that's LinkedIn, which for the most part, we're all here, right? We've got a couple hundred people here who are live on LinkedIn, and we've got people on YouTube. And so we're all engaging, but it's on the LinkedIn platform is what I mean when I say social selling. Social selling is about finding and engaging buyers and teammates. Really, that's what it is. We're trying to find them before we ever reach out to have a meeting and to schedule a meeting. I want to find potential federal buyers. I want to find teammates that are out there that I like and I think might fit. If I'm trying to target the Army, I'm looking for federal buyers within the Army, within the different program offices. And then I'm also looking for small businesses and large businesses that are winning within the Army so that I can start finding people I might engage with. I might pursue some business developers in small and large businesses as a way to build my efforts to build into the Army. But so social selling, first and foremost, is about finding and engaging with buyers and teammates. Second thing is to help them do the same, right? So social selling is about helping buyers and teammates find and learn from you. People buy and work with those they know, like, and trust, right? People buy from those they know, like, and trust. And so our job by doing social selling, our goal by doing social selling is to help these buyers and help these teammates find us and engage with us, to learn about us as individuals, to learn about us as our company, to learn about what we do, or more importantly, our expertise and our expert lessons learned that we're sharing out. I'm doing this literally with you right now, right? I'm sharing what I know with you. Very, very teeny percentage of you I will work with. Less than 1% of everybody I talk to and teach, I will work with in a paid level. That means 99% of the people I'm just trying to help. And that's something you want to think about as well, because you want to help your federal agency buyers and your teammates find you and your company and learn from you. You want your company and you to be seen as a trusted advisor to a federal buyer, that they come back to you. They're like, oh, that company talks about data analytics and data science all the time, or they talk about elevators. I'm going to come back to them, or I'm going to follow them so I pay attention to what they're doing. Another way of looking at what social selling is it's a 24/7 networking event where you never get tired, right? And the idea here is that you think about a conference. Why do you go to a conference? Partly to learn, partly to network. And what was the last conference you went to where you walked around and you were able to meet hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people? We've got 230 people live right now, right? Last week, we had an average of over 200 people every single live. Many new people coming into different sessions. This is your network. And so it happens all the time on LinkedIn. So right now, I just said 200 people. That's my network that I'm helping push to you, right? But if you're on LinkedIn, if you're doing social selling, and I'll talk about how to do that in a second, but if you're doing social selling on LinkedIn, you can go to bed tonight and wake up in the morning and people will have looked at your content. They will have learned about your company. They might have engaged with your content or reached out to connect with you or follow you. This is because people buy from those they know, like, and trust. And LinkedIn social selling approach allows you to network with these people 24/7, even when you're supporting the customer. So when you're on here, you want to make sure that you've got a good presence that people can find. And the last bullet I put here about social selling, one of the advantages of social selling is that it just helps you avoid all cold calls and turn them all into warm calls. And the idea is, by the way, I'm a sales guy, so I don't have a problem going and doing some cold calls. But if you never wanted to do a cold call again because you don't have the time for it, you don't like it, the anxiety is there, when you engage and you do social selling, you're able to warm up these people you want to talk to in a way that helps them know you, helps them like you, and helps them trust you. What you say and the fact that you engage with them is making them like you. What content you share and your expertise is making them trust you, right? And so when you do that and you're targeting the right people and you kind of engage with them and they engage with you, well, now you're warming up that whole relationship before you ever reach out to schedule a meeting. So it's a really good advantage there. If that makes sense to you, put social selling in the social selling rocks in the chat so I can drink water. Okay, so that was the what of social selling. Let's talk about the who. There's really 4 groups of people, if you will, that I put in here. When you think about social selling in the federal government space or the federal market for government contractors, you should be social selling and reaching out, right? You should be reaching out to federal buyers, to teammates in the GovCon space, and you can be extending that by reaching out to company pages, or they have, subordinate pages. I'll show you a little bit on that. Or to groups is another one. And I'll try to show you those all really quick as a way to understand what I'm talking about. So let me just come over here. And so I'm going to go into LinkedIn really quick. I'm just going to go into my profile. And I want to, by the way, if you're not following Anna Ehrman, follow her. She's awesome. She's in the industry. So let's just say I'm trying to get into the Army. I'm just going to type Army for 1 second. And in LinkedIn, I just went to the search and I said, show me Army. And this, I could try to figure out many different ways. Like I could search people and see, here's Chief CIO, this Chief Information Officer of the Army. That's pretty good. Actually, that might be somebody I want to follow, and I'll just click it. But one of the things I like doing is just coming in and start saying, well, show me posts. And when I look at posts, I want to see who's engaging out there. So here's 18 hours ago, I can see PEO, and let me scroll in for you a little bit. So here's Army PEO, right? That's an agency or a program office I might be interested in. And through them, I instantly learn about, let me just pull this up. So I instantly learn about this page, right? And remember, I said you can follow federal buyers, teammates, pages, and groups. So here I'm seeing a page and I can look into that. And here is a subordinate page that I'm seeing. And in this particular page, it's Enterprise Business Systems Convergence. And this is part of the PEO EIS. And so they're tied together. The reason this is really cool is because I want to follow this page. And me personally, I'm interested in the Army, so I'll click follow, right? That's one thing I can do. And now I will start hearing what these guys are saying. Let me just make sure. So PEO EIS, I'm already following. But if I come over here to Enterprise or EBS-C, if I'm looking for people now and I want to begin to find federal buyers who are in this, I think this is a project office within the program office, if I'm following it correctly. And if I want to, I can click on here. I clicked on employees, and in there, because this is a small shop, even though it showed a big number, there's 13 people, and I can begin to learn who they are. So here's an enterprise architect. I'm looking down, like anytime I see directors, I like them, right? And so it says connect, and I don't like connecting. I like following first, but I can begin to click on these people. Here's organization change manager, community transformation, if I'm interested in that, solution architect, right? So you can see these different titles. And if you go into particular pages that matter to you, I'm in the IT space, right? But if you were in construction, you can find the same thing. I got rid of that page and I'm just showing the Army PEO EIS, and it's bigger. So if I click on the employees here, you'll see more. So there was 13 at that level. Now there's 140 at this level. Now I'm seeing project managers. When you think about trying to meet federal buyers and program offices, this is how you can do it, right? Let me show you. Let me cancel that one really quick. And then I pulled up this guy, for example. I just wanted to show you. So with them, I could come in here if I wanted, and I could follow this gentleman, which I will, because again, I'm in the IT space and they're in there. But part of it is I can begin to see different activities. Like one thing that's interesting, just pointing it out, see how I'm a second connection, but it shows that I have 84 connections in common, plus he and I were in the Army. If I reached out to this guy, he'll connect with me, right? There's commonality. I can do it pretty fast. Otherwise, I can move it slow. But you can see over on the right-hand side, there's more people. Here's Headquarters, Department of Army, CIO, Deputy Director, right? And so this person's in ECMA. It looks like they're part of the, they might be heading up the Army cloud. This is all good stuff. It took me 2 seconds to find. So I showed you people, I showed you pages. Let me show you one more thing, and then I just want to move on to, let me show you, where am I going? Groups. So I mentioned groups, right? So you can go into groups. By the way, this is my group that I run. It's just called the Navy DIB, and it's where I share information about the Navy because I had so much of it. And so you'll see us populated. But if I come down, right, I can begin to start finding a ton of people. Federal government contractors group, 21,000 people, right? Here's a government contracting community. There's all these different groups that are out there. Here's one created around the Navy Gold Coast event. If you're looking for people, maybe women-owned small businesses, etc. But this is one I like. Let's just go to Huntsville. Let's say you want to reach out to Huntsville and you want to connect with people. When you get into a group, right? Social selling is about finding people. Here, I'm in a group, but I'm finding people. And so I can look, there's 1,574 members in here. And so if I click on show all, let's see what happens here. So here's 1,574. And I can just start scrolling and see who might be interested in connecting with. Like here's a company called NextOp. And this person, Ben, is partnerships and outreach. Well, shoot, Ben, that's something I might be interested in. I'm not going to connect with him immediately, but because I'm in the group, I could. LinkedIn allows me to message Ben if I wanted to. But instead, what I would want to do is just go, well, what is Ben doing, right? So if I come up here, and Ben, I'm putting you on the spot here. But if I look, right, so their focus, so that's kind of personally what he's doing. So Next Ops, okay, so it's a veterans organization. Same kind of thing though, right? I can just keep coming down and seeing who's here. Here's technical recruiter at Booz Allen. If I'm a staffing firm, because I know one's on here today, I might put Mackenzie down and follow and engage for a month. Like just engage and build a relationship in the hopes that I might be able to get an outreach into her organization and talk to her. So these are different ways you can be tracking on them. Let me get back here really quick. So I talked about buyers, teammates I showed you just through the groups, pages I showed you as it relates to buyers, right? So these are where you find people or how you can begin to follow either people or entities like the pages. That's part of what you want to do in social selling is begin to find the right people to reach out to. The next thing you want to be doing is, engaging. This is what we call it, right? And I'm going to go show it to you now. First off, I put over here, you could practice this right now. You could literally be giving my training a thumbs up if there's a way to do that. Or you could put something in the chat that says, hey, I really like this tip that you provided, Neil. That's the idea. Don't just say good job. I appreciate it. I appreciate thank you, right? But if you want to add value, then you could say something like, hey, you know what? That tip about going to groups really was cool. It really showed me how to meet a lot of other people kind of thing, right? And so when you're doing it, practice that. Also in the chat, if you see what somebody's saying they sell, or if they say they're in Texas or Wyoming, give a thumbs up, right? That's a way you can engage right here, right now in the chat. So 3 or 4 ways you can do social selling on LinkedIn, and I'm going to go show you really quick. The first way is a thumbs up, right? You just give somebody a thumbs up on their content. I like it. Second way is to repost. You're showing support for that. Say I do a post, you're reposting it out. You're not sharing it, and I'll show you the difference, but you're reposting it out to your network saying, hey, I like what Neil's doing. I'm supporting his effort by pushing it to my network. Tell you right now, people like me who create content really appreciate it. And the federal buyer, even though they seem like the federal government, they're just people behind the scenes. And when you reshare or repost some of their content to your network, they appreciate it. Like Dave Waltz from the Navy, he puts out stuff about, we've got an RFI. Well, if he puts it out, you see it, you repost it, you're helping him push it to industry. The next way is comment. So the comment is about engagement, what I was just talking about there a little bit. And I'll comment on that in a second. And then the last one is to create content. So here you're informing. So think about these exclamation marks I did, right? You can like it, you can support it, you can engage with it, or you can inform your audience, you can teach us. And when you think about people buying from those they know, like, and trust, these are the things, these 4 things that will lead you to that. So let me go walk you through a couple seconds here. Let me just back this up. I'm going to go home. I don't know what's on my home, but I'm looking. Oh, no. I'm going to go to the Army again because it's just easier for me. So I'm going to go to the Army, and I'm looking for something that is, first off, recent. So I sorted Army, and I hit enter. Or I searched Army, excuse me, and I hit enter. Now I'm saying, show me something that was posted in last week. I don't even, actually, let's do the last 24 hours because that means the person who posted it will really appreciate the fact that I'm engaging it and pushing it to my network. The rest of this I don't really care about at the moment, so I'm going to scroll down until I see something that I like, or not that I like, but I'm looking for something that I could actually engage with. So Russian tactics, things like that I might engage. Cyber threats. This one looks really cool. So this is coming out of the Army Chief of CIO's office, but I'm going to expand this here in the ever-ending blah, blah, blah. Zero trust means this. The image is the essence of collaboration. So let's see what we got. So it's just telling it zero trust. So I don't really have a comment to put there, right? But I'm going to give it a thumbs up. But one thing I really want to point out is look at this. No one in the last 4 hours has commented. But this is the Army CIO office, and they have 17,000 followers. So they did this 4 hours ago, but maybe people just haven't seen it yet, and they'll see it later. But this comment will probably get engagement. When it does, this post will probably get engagement. One thing that I might put down is, this is awesome. In particular, I really like the Army's Zero Trust document, and I can put a link into it. I'm not saying Neil sells this and this and this. I'm expanding on this person's post, this Army post here. I'm expanding on it with my comment. And if they had written more, let me see if I can come down here really quick. So let's keep looking. I'm looking. Really, when I look for stuff, I'm really looking for people. Come on. So sometimes it's hard to see it. I might come over here. Oh, document. Perfect. So let me see if I can find a document. Somebody's sharing a document. And really, these are people, and I don't really care about people sharing stuff. I'm looking for, hey, except for Kamar, he's a good guy sharing good content. Look what he did, right? He shared this out, pushing this. He did that 3 hours ago, and he posted this guy, my content that I did. But this is literally a great example because you're seeing what somebody in my network is doing, and I know he'd love to have connections. He does AWS software development there. Those guys, he took my post and he pushed it out further, but he's pushing out my post, which is pushing out the Army's post. And so here I shared this document where I'm sharing the Army did an event, and I'm pushing it out to as many people as possible. And by the way, Tim Kelly is also in our network, and he's the one who told me about it, right? So thank you to Tim Kelly. But in here, they're talking about the chess, or not chess, but ITES 4S, right? And it's part of the chess vehicle. So I pushed this out so people could learn about it. Later this afternoon, I'm actually pushing something further out that's around this. But this stuff is good. So I'm going to give him a thumbs up. In this particular case, I'm not going to be too fancy. I'm just going to say, thanks for pushing this out further. And then I always tag. This is why I'm doing this. I want you to see, you just hit the @ symbol and hit Kamar, and now I'm tagging him. A couple of things happened. When I did that, it is now going to let my network know that I just commented on his post. And so this is social selling. We're becoming aware of each other out there. If I come into this, I just want to show you a couple others. I went into the Army one. I'll just stick there for the training here. But here's Futures Command. If I just take it, these guys are posting, but I'm going to do the same thing. I'm saying, show me documents these guys have posted, if they've done any. So they're reposting them, which is tough. I was hoping they did some of their own. Let me see if they do articles. Otherwise, I'm going to have to bolt. Well, whatever. So they got, wow, 2 years ago. Okay, so the Army CIO office needs to really step it up. But let's just stick with these guys. This is embarrassing enough. But let's just stick. I wanted to show you. I said like it, right? Comment on it. And so in here, to me, a comment is I would read this and then come back and say something. And I'm continuing the conversation. I have a whole separate training on that. And then what I wanted you to see is I can hit repost right here. And do you see how it says repost with your thoughts? That's called sharing, or just flat out repost. And that is saying repost instantly to bring this to your feed. And the idea is when you do that, the connection with my post stays. Thank you to the people who repost and put comments on my stuff. But the best thing you can do is actually repost without commenting, because then the thread is staying still and all of your network comes back to my profile and sees me. But if you share it with comments, it's kind of like you broke the thread and a new thread is started. It's nice, really appreciate it. But from a LinkedIn algorithm perspective, it's better to do that. If you were going to say something, it's just as helpful for you to comment in my post on my profile, and then LinkedIn will let your network know. So that's kind of like reposting with comments out there. And the last one, we're just going to run out of time on this, but the last one is content. And I have a whole separate training that you can go watch on how to post content on LinkedIn. In fact, I've done training on how to use AI to give you ideas, not to write your content. I personally hate AI content and AI comments, by the way. I like it when people bring their expertise. We want to be able to trust you. And with AI out here, it's a little harder, right? It's a great enabler, but it is not you. And so the content you create, I really want you to create like one a week around your expertise. In fact, I might even say that right here. Here's what I want you to do. Coming out of today's training, and what I want you to remember, first off, social selling is on LinkedIn. It's where you find and engage buyers, and they can basically find and engage you. And same with the teammates, right? Social selling is about engaging 15 minutes a day. You can do 30 minutes or more, but if you're a full-time salesperson, 60 minutes is not a bad thing, by the way, because you're building relationships. That's your primary job. But the idea for most of us, 15 minutes a day is perfect. So just commit to 15 minutes a day. And as it relates to content that you post so people can see you're an expert, you want to post that once a week. And in the beginning, just start with, here's the top 5 things you should pay attention to related to elevators, related to doorknobs, related to whatever you sell, right? You're the expert. Share some of those tips and don't worry about writing long dialogues. Just do it once a week to start getting in that habit. For all of us, just remember, as you're going through the day and as you're going through government contracting, it is not a secret. It's just a process. I hope to see you in the next training. I'll leave this slide up if you're interested in working with me, but we're done.